All right. And happy preseason Monday to everybody. Welcome to the new or old or new, depending on how you want to look at it, in 90 Minutes podcast. I am your host this evening. Alongside me are David, John, and we are missing our fourth member, Misael. He's feeling under the weather. So welcome, everybody. We wanted to take this opportunity to start off the preseason. We have some news from the team, so we figured it would be a great chance for us to all get back together, say hello, and kick things off. So as usual, you can follow us on Instagram, X, Facebook, Twitch, TikTok, Threads, Blue Sky, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. But now you can follow us at In 90 Minutes Podcast. So look that up if you're not already following us. And we're looking forward to a great season. So, gentlemen, happy Monday. Missed your faces. Haven't seen you guys in some time. How's everybody doing in this fabulous, very active preseason? And that, hence the sarcasm. Did you notice the sarcasm? Anybody there?
Yeah. I was waiting for John to talk. That's all.
No, you're good. Yeah, I mean it's going. You know, it's just waiting on the club to do something.
Well, let's hope so. First of all, I would like to wish everybody a happy 2025. Every year is full of excitement. On a personal note, changes and good things coming my way. Hope that they are going your way as well. For those that are giving us a shot for the first time, welcome. One of the things that we want to let people know is that this most likely is going to be our last show using the StreamYard platform. They decided to double the price, almost $1,000, and we have actually found a alternative, and that alternative is with another platform which name escapes me right now, but it offers some cool features, audio and visual, and we are going to be transmitting on that. We have a new intro that we are working on, and we changed the name of the show. It was a decision, a suggestion by Ahmed that I think spoke to all of us. For those that don't know the story, the show originally was called the 90 Minutes Podcast. I had a vision of what I wanted with the show, and unfortunately, for a bunch of crap that means nothing now, we reconfigured the show. I think the old name, I picked it because I felt that if I added the feature of a calling where people could call in, that would be great. But as time went on, less and less people participated to the point where nobody wanted to do it anymore, and so we decided we are gonna be a traditional podcast. We're gonna mix it up, walking away from the okay. I mean, what was your thought? Oh, great, John. What was your thought? Okay, now let me give you my thought. We're gonna walk away from that. We're gonna have sections. We're gonna have each of all four of us are gonna pick different things to talk about, so we can make it an informative show and at the same time a fun one. The purpose of the show it remains the same. An independent voice for the supporter, a platform for you guys to discuss what's going on with the club. As an independent voice, we're gonna critique the club when we have to. We're gonna praise the club when we have to. None of our criticism is ever personal. I think that everybody that works for the club wants to succeed, loves the club, loves what they do, and I had the pleasure and the honor to meet many of them over the years. And I think that they tell me personally that they appreciate what we do. Last, a little bit of housekeeping here before we talked about what's going on with Orlando City. There has been changes in club communications, overdue in my opinion. And all we gotta say to the club is that hopefully the new leadership is gonna be a friend to the podcast. For a long time, the old regime treated podcast as an alternative outlet rather than what it is. The only people that give a crap about what's going on with Orlando City. Traditional media has walked away. We no longer have a newspaper covering the club. Local TV, since we went into Apple Plus, doesn't really dedicate a lot of time to it. Radio, we're non-existent aside from broadcasting the games. So hopefully we can be seen as a partner, as a friend, and not for nothing, we give free promotion to the club, free coverage to the club. We absolutely ask for nothing back here in 90 Minutes Podcast or in our latest version. We never ask for access to the club or special treatment or a press pass or anything like that because we felt that it violated the integrity of who we are. We're fans. We're not professionals. All four of us have jobs that we're very good at, and that's how we provide for our family. And we're not here to pretend that we know everything. We're not here to pretend that we are insiders or that we know exactly what's going on the club. We're just fans like you that want to talk about Orlando City. So that's pretty much it. I want to thank everybody who's watching us live. We were sort of last minute on this. So with that, I finish. I'm gonna take it all the way home, sir.
All right. So most recently at Inter&co Stadium, I think before our recent game, the United States played Costa Rica. Um, I did not get to watch the game. It was an extremely cold night. I believe, John, were you there?
Yeah, we went. It was part of, luckily, our Christmas present for my dad. So my dad flew down to see it with us. Um, it's really hard to say anything, critique it really, because it was the C team, maybe even the D team, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Really, the one bright spot was Diego Luna. He plays for, I believe it's Real Salt Lake. He's an attacking midfielder. Even before his injury, and what Pochettino said in his post match comments was he stood out. Definitely, Luna definitely stood out. He stood out when he was playing for the youth team. I can't remember if it was the U23s or the U20s or what level it was a couple years ago. I believe it was the U20s because I think Thomas Williams was playing with them as well for the I believe it was the CONCACAF U20 competition, uh, whatever tournament it was. And Luna was one of the people that stood out. Looks like a bigger guy. Has a. It's funny, before the match, an article would come out. One of the uh, podcasts for the men's national team quoted some of it, and basically it came out when Luna was younger. A lot of the youth national team coaches dismissed him because he looks like he's bigger, looks like he's almost out of shape. Like, think about somebody more popular. Think about Weston McKinney, who's a thicker build. Luna's even more than that. And the academy coaches were putting him, or were giving the national team coaches his training plan to prove, no, this guy's just barrel chested. He's not out of shape. But yeah, I mean, he was all over the pitch. He was absolutely incredible. Then got a literally broken nose. I'm sure most of you saw the picture from it. Got a broken nose. They, clogged both of his nostrils with cotton, and then he proceeds to get back in and have the opening assist for the match. But it was a fun night. It was my first time ever seeing the national team live whatsoever. It would have been nice if some of the bigger names were there, but it was still nice to be there to support the national team and for them to come away with a 3-0 win against Costa Rica side that really never had a chance. I mean, if it was our A team, and I don't know how good Costa Rica's team it was, like how many players they were missing or whatever, but
It was their C team, really.
it was as well. Okay, I had
Yeah.
a feeling it was, but we did the U.S. dominated it most of the match, and then took it home with 2 late goals. And the other guy that looked well was I believe he's from Columbus. I can't pronounce his name. Was the forward that ended up getting a goal. He just showed how fast and the potential he has. I think he's only like 19 or 20 years old, but he was good while he was in there as well.
Wow.
Yeah, the attendance wasn't that great. I know Misael, who's commented already, was there as well. A Wednesday on probably one of the coldest nights of the year so far. A hard sell on a friendly where the stars were missing on both ends. You know, tough preposition, but like John said, it's an opportunity to see the national team. I had the opportunity to see them last time they were in town. It's an honor. It's the guys that represent your country, and the fact that they choose to continue to come back to Orlando over and over and over. Florida as a whole actually speaks volumes of the quality of our fan base, or the football fan supporter here in the state of Florida. On a night where we actually had snow in the Panhandle, uh, my respects to the people there. And if you don't believe me, go watch the highlights on YouTube when I watched the pregame show, and if you would have told me they were playing in Alaska, I would have bought it. I'm like, yeah, that's where they are, because people they were heavily clothed, finally putting to work to use that winter gear that Orlando City sells, the scarves, everything. I was like shocked, but very, very, very happy for the boys. It's a win in a friendly, but not against a Concacaf good team. But yeah, that's what it is. Hopefully next time they come, it's for real, And at that point, I'll put out the money to go do that. So, with
And
that said,
at least on the ticket part, money part, at least it seemed like they lessened the prices for this one compared to if it was the A team.
oh
And
yeah, yeah, they knew, brother. I mean, in fact, like tough proposition. I have argued this many times with other people, regardless of the event. If you're gonna put a game in the middle of the week in Florida, it's gonna be a tough sell. People gotta work. People gotta take the kids to school. People live far away from Orlando, so it's a really tough sell. But at that, and the fact that it was freezing cold, I just watched it from home. I mean, it was, and it was the right thing to do. We got some comments if you guys don't mind reading those.
Yeah, sure. Misael joining us in his slumber. How you doing, man? He says Luna was balling. It was freezing that night. I had a white bubble jacket on, looked like the Michelin Man. My ticket was $11. Oh my gosh. That's
Nice.
how tickets should be for football matches. Don't get me
We're
started
friendly
on
on
that.
top of that.
We've already, yeah. Anyway, and then we have Jim D. Jim has a message, and this is gonna lead us into our next topic. He says, "Welcome back, fellas. Not sure OC is making the moves necessary to take us to that next level. I think we'll be all right, but not taking that next step. The kids look great in preseason, though." So, Jim, you said exactly what's been on everybody's minds lately. We're sitting there watching teams sign people, and I just feel like I'm seeing it fly through on social media. This team signs this person. This team signs this person. This team signs this person. And I'm just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing, gents? Because to me, it doesn't seem like we're doing much except giving up people that we haven't played to expansion teams. So what are we doing? I've heard some rumors, and we'll talk about them. I'm sure we'll talk about them, but there's nothing there, man. It's like, why? I always feel like we're at the tail end of everything. And like, even when we signed Muriel, and it was at that very, very tail end of the season. I mean, of the preseason, right? It was like, it was super late. So I don't know. Maybe that's part of their strategy. I I don't know. So, what are your
I
thoughts?
mean, it. Yeah, I mean, Ojeda. You think back 3 years ago, Ojeda was at the end of the season, even though we'd been trying, or into the preseason, even though we had been trying to sign him for what at that point I think it was 2 years. We were in negotiations trying to get him to join the club. Facundo was kind of midway through January, so I think 3 years ago at that point, training camp hadn't even begun when we signed him.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, it's to me, it all just goes back to what we were talking about last year, and the guys from Lions Den brought it up as well. Is this ownership came in promising exciting soccer, promising trophies. Yeah, cool. We won that, if you want to call it trophy, on Saturday. But we have a roster right now where we have our starters. In the midfield haven't changed, but you look at our bench, we have Ladero, who is rumored to be potentially on the move. We have a rookie 17-year-old that we just signed, and we have a college draft pick. Both of those are next up for the number 6, or for the defensive, for the double pivot that Poppy plays. We've been saying for 2 years, let's sign a true attacking midfielder. People have been out there for us to sign. No rumors about that except for the guy from Portland, and I feel like that was just fans making noise for it more than a legitimate rumor. Facundo left us really before January even started. We still haven't signed a replacement for him. There's been 2 rumors. Neither player is even close to Facundo's ability. It's just another tick on the notepad of what's this ownership in it for? Are they in it to win championships and win trophies and elevate the club to the next level, or are they here just to make money and buy the real estate around the stadium and develop it and make money off that real estate and not really care what goes on with the team? And then it goes to what's expected by the fans. I mean, the fact that I post back on around December 19th that Orlando City hasn't done anything on X, and several people said we need to be patient. Well, no, patience in sports to a point doesn't win you matches. You have, when it's in the transfer market the way the soccer transfer market is, you have to be aggressive. You have to go after what you need and get the players that you need. The patience comes with the scouting the year prior, knowing, hey, we're probably going to need this, we're probably going to need that, and scouting the correct players. But once that transfer market comes around, and especially once it opens, you have to be aggressive. You can't be waiting until your star striker that scored the majority of your goals the year before gets sold. Talking about Duncan, or gets let go on loan. To sign a washed up 32-year-old that hasn't done anything in soccer in quite some time. Facundo, okay, it was before the transfer window, you wait, but you should have already had a list of 4 or 5 players at least that you're going to say we're going to sign one of these 4 players to replace him, because everybody and their brother knew that Facundo's time here wasn't long. He was either gone this winter or gone this summer. If we kept him through this summer, it would have been a surprise to everybody, and that would have only happened because he had another slow start and wasn't sold over in the January transfer window. So, it's just very disheartening, very almost shameful how we haven't signed anybody.
We did sign one. We did sign Nicolas Rodriguez.
Yes, a 20-year-old that's played a half a season in the Colombian top flight of Colombian soccer, but unproven. High potential, yes. I mean, his transfer value, according to transfer markets, doubled in the last year. So
I
that's
got some news about Nicolas Rodriguez that you guys are not gonna like.
What?
because
He's gonna.
because the president of Colombia wanted to
Oh no.
play chicken with President Trump. The embassy of the United States in Bogota was closed, and they are not issuing any visas to the United States, any work documents. So that means that Nicolas Rodriguez' arrival may have been pushed 2 to 3 weeks, more than what we were expecting. So there you go. In events that where politics mess with your football, we have that. So I just want to let people know for those and remind everybody, we signed this young man from Fortaleza.
Hmm.
He's a winger, Nicolas Rodriguez, out of Colombia. So we have that situation. I didn't mean to interrupt you, John.
No, you're
Um,
fine. But I mean, it
uh,
comes back to 2017, 2018 when the U.S. didn't qualify for the World Cup, and Twellman had his famous rant. What are we doing? I mean, it's to that point. Like, what are we doing as a club? We aren't progressing. Yeah, we made it one round by luck. Run one round further this past year. We have the same performance at home in a elimination game that we did the year prior. And this year it wasn't against the eventual champions. This year it was against a team that really had no business being in the MLS Cup final. And then we go into the off season with basically the same, without any rumors, the whole month of December. Finally, we get something with Nicholas. But other than that, yeah, the Zendejas thing's going to happen. If we get Zendejas, we're going to overpay for him because I'm sorry, he's not worth more than Facundo's worth. The last offer that I heard Orlando gave for Zendejas was 14 million, and Zendejas' club wanted closer to the neighborhood of 15 to 17, which is a gross overpayment. Then we look at the guy and the Croatian guy and get rejected for his offer. Like, there's so many there's so many more players, and I wish I had a list. I don't that we could go after.
well, we can go over that, my friend.
And it's just disheartening that the ownership and the front office hasn't done anything. And then we can go into it. Came over social media this past week, the hype for the season.
So this
There's
is
been nothing about the weekends leading up to the first match. There's been no announcement of a 5K, no announcement for a Pints with Perea, no jersey reveal announced yet, which I'm pretty sure it was over a year ago. We had the reveal for the away kit. There's been nothing, and it's like the front office and the ownership is just using our hard-earned money to stack their pockets, and they don't really care, nor do they want to improve the team to make it reputable. I mean, we're going to get smoked this year. If we make the playoffs this year, it will be an absolute miracle because you look at every other team in the East, they have all made moves that have greatly improved their team. I mean, Chicago was looking at trying to bring in Neymar. You look at what Charlotte's done. You look at what Cincinnati's done. You look at what
San Diego.
Atlanta's done. You look at what Miami's done. You look at
Yeah.
what San Diego's, a brand new club to the scene, and they're making better moves than we are, and we're now 10 years in the league. It's just
You know what?
it's embarrassing and it's shameful, and the front
Yeah.
office needs to figure out what they're doing.
What I don't get is the delay in all of it, because I feel like they do this stuff and last minute you hear signing this, signing that. It's not like you don't know when the end of the season's coming. It's not like you don't know the players that you're going to be looking at. Your prospects, I'm sure they're scouting like Nicolas. It's not like they woke up one day and said, let's look at him. So you already have that stuff planned. I'm assuming, right? Is it safe to assume that they're planning this stuff out,
They should be.
and they're looking at them. So why the delay? I don't get that. And as far as them doing stuff, I have to be honest, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I'm kind of happy that they're not doing that other stuff, because if they were talking about the 5K and pints with Pereja, I'd be like, how about we sign people first and we do this stuff before you start talking to me about how, if I'm gonna buy a new jersey. Honestly, I feel like part of them is like, we can't be talking to people about buying jerseys and about doing all this stuff if we're not it's like a catch 22, so because I know I'd be like, well, why am I even gonna buy a new jersey if we don't know
Yeah,
what's going on?
if you guys allow me, I will go over our transfer rumors and targets. Mind you, that this year's offseason was non-existent. The guys and I were planning to get guests and things to fill in. Why usually it's a large chunk of time without Orlando City football. And my friends, there was nothing. I mean, we were talking about the Eastern Conference Championship uh, 4 or 5 weeks ago. So this is where we are. First of all, we went for Solari, who is with River Plate in Argentina. The guy hurt himself, and after the debacle with Gaston Gonzalez, we moved on. San Nicolas Rodriguez, there was an interest from Nacional to take Cesar Araujo. That was crushed because I, you know, we can, right now making a little bit of profit on a transfer is not worth our money. With the injuries and everything that we're gonna talk about, having Cesar here is a must. And right now, if Cesar walks away on a free, that's fine. We really paid about $1.5 million for the young man, and we have more than made that money back. Um, Orlando City's bid for Ignacio Sosa Peñarol was rejected. Quite honestly, Orlando City is not playing those games again. Peñarol, they are not a fair negotiator. They want to squeeze you out of every single dollar. And, not for nothing, we are not going to be taken advantage of. And we decided to walk away. The next one was Marco Pasalic. Hopefully, I'm saying that correctly, Croatian. At the end, the player was like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to go. Maybe in the summer." And Orlando City said, "You know what? We don't have the time, son. We just don't, guys. We just don't." So we're like, "You know what? Well, when you figure your things out, give us a call. Maybe we'll be interested." So we moved on from the young cat. Right now, Orlando City is in quote unquote advanced negotiations for Alex Sendejas with Club America. Club America, one of the giants of football in the Americas and especially CONCACAF. And again, like the guy said, it's one of those situations where, we're not going to overpay. Just because we can, doesn't mean that we should. There's a transfer rumor for um, Nicolas Lodeiro into the Argentinian football, San Lorenzo to be specific. Uh, Former Lion Gaston Gonzalez has officially joined Defensa y Justicia out of the Argentinian football on a 3-year contract. We wish him the best. Quite honestly, just so you know, guys, we bought this kid for $2 million and we made no money out of him. We just let him go on a free. It was a complete disaster. Add that the rehab, the surgery that we financed because we wanted to be Mr. Nice Guys and we wanted to save some money, and we left them playing for Union de Santa Fe. And what happens when the kid's replacement is on the sideline? He blows his knee. Lesson to be learned there. Also, on a little bit of note, Facundo Torres just scored his first goal for Palmeiras. Incredible goal. And, because I choose violence sometimes, I went on Facebook and I said, I reminded people that, there was no time to jail. There was no, him needs to get to know his teammates or none of that nonsense. He went and did what he did because he's a professional football player. And the ball is round in Brazil, here, in Egypt, in Australia. The ball is round and the pitch is a square patch of grass. And I'm sorry, guys. I think this year with the season going at lightning speed, those excuses of before pass muster. It's not kosher. We have to win games, and we can't have this cold start. And like Ahmed was saying, don't get me excited for what at this point is an unknown. We don't know what our season entails. And Jim D, if you when you guys get to read that comment, he is dead on, because in the past, this comment tells me Jim has followed this club for at least 5 years. If tell me you are an Orlando City fan without telling me you're an Orlando City fan. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, Jim says, I feel like we almost always fail in the big signings. We luck out with the U22 crowd or draft picks. Our DP signings tend to be lackluster, and that's what's going to make the difference. And the most frustrating part about that is those DP signings are the ones with the biggest expectations and the biggest price tag. So it's just like, give me a break. Please, soccer gods, give me a break.
But that goes back. I mean, the last DP that we had that made an impact would have been Nani. Obviously you can't. It's a borderline world class talent that
Absolutely.
you can't deny. But it also begs the question that we've talked about for since the show began. This is going into our third season now. Is it a system thing that our DPs come in and don't make an impact like every other team's designated players do? Is it, what is it? I mean, look, Facundo, how many matches did he go this past year? And it's a rhetorical question. Did he go this past year before he scored an open play goal? He's in his first match with his new club, and he scores an open play goal. His first several goals this past year, I feel like this is a guess and no research done on it, but I really feel like his first couple goals this past year were from penalty kicks. He really didn't get going until late May, mid June.
Summer Faku, hence the name.
And Ojeda.
Well, it's summertime down there, so I guess.
Ojeda rode the bench, for most of his first year and half of his, almost half of his second year, or half of his third year. I'm sorry, he rode the bench the first 2 years. Muriel had one goal and 4 assists last year, off the top of my head. Kara the year before, we ended up getting rid of him in the summer. And that's it. I mean, our designated players under Poppy have either take a very long time to get going every season. The same with the team, and it's getting to be unacceptable. I mean, look at who Atlanta just signed. I'm gonna butcher his name, but is it Almiron?
Miguel Almiron, yeah.
Newcastle United. Dude has 30 goals with Newcastle United. I think he's 29 years old. He was with them when they first became a club, or very early in their being an MLS club, and then they sold him off to Europe, and now he's back. Look at who Charlotte signed in their attack. I forget his name. I recognized his name when they signed him. He's going to make an instant impact. You look at everybody that San Diego signed. You look at New York City. They've signed a lot. The Red Bulls have signed a lot. Philadelphia's made signings. Nashville's made signings. Austin's made signings. I mean, you go across almost every team in the league that finished below us, and they've made, and above us, they've made signings. Cincinnati's made signings. Cincinnati made a signing 2 weeks after their season was over. 2 weeks. And here we are, almost 2 months after our season ended, and we've made one U22 signing with an unproven 20-year-old that we're hoping works out and makes a difference. It's just very disheartening and very it is embarrassing at this point.
All I gotta say, guys, just have Simon and Garfunkel on constant replay, because there's gonna be a lot of that on the way home after getting crushed games. But I wanna send a shout out to our friends at OC Fan TV. I want to make they know I love them. You know, Zach, Bryce, and David. I have a lot of respect for this young man, and they're making a comeback. So I wanna send a cybernetic hug to those guys. You're missed. So I'm glad that you're making a comeback. They put a lot of information online, and I appreciate that from them. These are the top five goal scorers in the last 5 seasons for Orlando City. In 2020, Chris Mueller with 10 goals. In 2021, Nani and Daryl Dike with 10 goals apiece. 2022, Erchan Kara with 11. In 23 and 24, Facundo Torres with 14 goals apiece. Where are those goals going to come from, my friends? None of the players that I just mentioned are Orlando City players right now. Also, want to thank a man that in this podcast we have sent a lot of love to, our good friend Thomas Williams, who has resigned with the club. Um, an exhortation for everybody: if you haven't experienced OCB, I encourage everybody to go. Last year and the year before that, we went to several games as a podcast and individually, and we had a lot of fun. So OCB, great, Osceola County Stadium, great place to watch football. Take it from me. And last, the elephant in the room. It has been reported that Wilder Cartagena has unfortunately picked up an Achilles tendon injury. I believe either today or tomorrow he was going to have surgery. And the most optimistic prognosis is he's probably going to be gone for 6 months. And when I said that, John was like, "Hey, maybe a year," and it
Yeah,
could be
no,
right.
it's definitely a year. I mean, 6 months is to be just walking basically back to normal life. I mean, you
Yeah,
guys, I'm sure most of the people watching and listening to the recording of this, you know, remembers Kobe Bryant, and basically what ended his career. Yes, he was a little bit older than Wilder, but basically he got a Achilles injury and then came back, a year and a half later and wasn't the same player. I think he only played one more season and then retired. Um, same thing happened to Deion Sanders 15, 20 years ago. He ruptured his Achilles in spring training playing for baseball for the Cincinnati Reds. Came back. Yes, he was at the tail end of his career in football, but he still had lost a step. So I mean, it could potentially. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but it's not an easy injury to come back from. And in funny story, you were talking about Orlando City B over the break. I mean, I always play FIFA, but I was doing a manager career on FIFA, and was always start managing Orlando City, and then after it gets boring with Orlando City because we're dominating, move over to another team, and I started managing Luton Town over in the Premiership, and was looking for a central midfielder, and who else but John Solis was a world class midfielder. He's not even on Orlando City's roster in the game because he's technically has his contract through the Orlando City B, but that was a shock to see him. I'm like, wait, I didn't even know he was in the game, and now he's sitting here. He has his headshots on the game, and he ended up being a world class player, world class midfielder. After all,
Wow.
so I just thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I just want to add something. This is just dropped. If I may be able to read this, as part of the extended partnership, MLS Productions will move to WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. WWE's brand new state-of-the-art production facility. The studios at WWE feature best-in-class production offerings and new cutting-edge technology to further elevate the production of MLS Season Pass. It will serve as the dynamic hub for popular MLS live studio programming and content in English and Spanish. The new location for MLS Season Pass will enable MLS Productions to add programming in the new season. The studios at WWE is a 30,000 square foot state of the art production facility equipped with 5 studios with the latest technologies wide-ranging production amenities and highlighted by an awe-inspiring virtual production stage. I have seen this building off of 95 when you're driving through Connecticut. You can see the huge WWE building. So we have that coming up this year. And
Nice.
Jim is asking about
Yeah.
probably the surprise of the day, if
Yeah.
I may. And I had the info here because I was shocked about Gustavo Caraballo. This kid, um, born in August of 2008, so he's like 6 months 8 months younger than my oldest son. And let's see here, the 14-year-old. Well, this is a old. He's 16 going on 17 now. Won the Golden Boot at the 2023 edition of the Generation Adidas Cup in the U15 age bracket, tying two other players with 4 goals in the competition to take the honors. You know, did not know who Gustavo was,
Yes.
and
My son brought him to
surprise,
my attention. My son brought him to
surprise,
my
and
attention
shocked.
during that game. It was crazy.
Yes, he's of Venezuelan ancestry. And as of right now, he is. I mean, to me, for a guy that age, incredible. The fact that he was able to hold his own against players much older than him and more experience says anything you need to know about him. I hope that he's not just so good that we sell him like what happened with Granados, that
Oh
we
no, no.
basically, we saw him for like 3 minutes and we made some money. Beautiful, but the fact of the matter is that let's play them, let's lift silverware, and then let's sell them. So
He's
I was
gonna stay
impressed
on.
with him.
Yeah,
Out of out of
we're
the
gonna
guys
keep
that,
him. We're gonna keep him on OCB. That's what you do with your good players.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But quite honestly, anything jump to your attention at the friendly, which we haven't talked about. This past Saturday, we had a friendly, not very well attended, but let's be honest. Who wants to pay for a glorified scrimmage? Orlando City managed to lift the prestigious Inter&co trophy. uh Inter&co trophy champions. You'll never sing about that. That's for sure. This is the same league as the infamous and mythical OC Invitational Trophy. So there you have it, guys. I think, to be honest with you, um, the guy that jumped, that I was very pleased with, was our overall pick number 27, Joran Gerbet, the Frenchman, that looked
Yes.
very polished, very professional, very good, very comfortable. Again, proof that people don't need time to gel and people don't need time to find their bearings if they're talented players.
I couldn't agree more, man. I mean, watching those guys at that game, which by the way was a great game. If you got to watch it, I only got to listen to half of it, and I just heard my son's reactions as he was watching. I think we played a very good game. Um, that's all I'm gonna say. I mean, the guys did an excellent job, right? The guys did an excellent job. To Jim's point, the young gentleman, amazing, amazing, amazing player. I think he would play like that. He should have earned himself a spot on the team. Maybe, obviously, on the bench. My fear is we're gonna see him maybe once during this season, and that's probably during the international break when he'll be sitting on the bench and maybe get like 30 seconds of playing time. We see how he played for a game like this. I think there's no reason, you have players like that. Give them a chance. Give them the chance. We've talked about this with how many of the OCB guys, right? We're Wilfredo Rivera, this gentleman,
Yutaro Sukada, who was
He was
impressive,
on fire. Yeah.
on fire. No reason for that young man to go back to
Loyola
OC.
too. Loyola, I didn't see Loyola. I don't know what's up with him. I thought they would have had him too because they
Oh,
have him on.
I believe Loyola was down in Chile
Okay.
with their
But I'm saying
national team.
those guys, give them, this is the chance. You're not. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean Alexander Freeman looked incredible too. I mean, the late in the game, and we didn't get to see much of it because Dagger Dan took a knock. But if we don't sign a DP right winger, I'd be very interested to see how our right side looked with Dagger playing right winger because he's played that in the past. And Freeman at right back because Freeman looked like he belonged there. I mean, honestly, none of the young guys looked like they were out of place, especially the ones that started.
And that was actually the impressive part about it because you would have thought you could have, you would have noticed that.
I mean, the 16-year-old, there was a time when they replayed it when he was going up against Hulk that I'm like, that family's going to have that picture in their living room. It was one of those. I mean, you're a 16-year-old kid playing against, somebody who's basically a legend of the game right now. Maybe a tier 2, a full tier and a half under, Messi and Ronaldo, and you're sitting there playing against them. I mean, everybody that's our ages, really over the age of 30 knows who and pays attention to the sport, knows of Hulk, and knows that knows the guy's built like a freaking tank. Brienne couldn't believe it when we were watching it, how built he was. Yeah, he's got a little bit of a belly now, but he's 37 years old. I think he'll be 38 this year, and but our guys, I was very proud of the way the young guys and the starters played. Loved the way that our center backs played. That was one thing I was nervous about coming in without Janssen in there. Brekalo and Schlegel looked good. Schlegel was under control. And congratulations to Schlegel getting the captain's armband too.
Absolutely.
His speech, even though I didn't understand a word of it because it was in Spanish before one of the postseason matches last year, still got me fired up, even though I didn't understand it. So he deserves it. I thought he played one of his honestly better games, top games that he's played for us. He was very under control, made one silly tackle right at the top of the 18 by the D, but it was a difficult position for anybody to score because it was a little too close to goal to score off of a free kick. But I thought they played very well. We had our chances just like they had their chances. It was a very evenly contested game. We had our moments where we controlled play. They had their moments, and it was actually a very encouraging us looking like that against a team that a lot of people would say is supposed to be better than us. And they did rest a couple of their regular starters, but I feel like we rested way more than they did because we had a bunch of guys that saw limited first team time last year, and Sukata the tough thing about the young guys like Sukata, the 16-year-old Freeman, is if they're not good enough to start, do you really want them sitting on the bench and not getting game minutes? That's where the
correct
conundrum is it's like, okay, yes, MLS Next Pro is not a good, has been proven not to be a good springboard into the league, but at least they're playing, higher competition than what they would be playing in the academy. Obviously, Sukata is not eligible for the academy, but the 16-year-old is. Freeman would have been, but I mean, I think Freeman and Sukata definitely deserve to be on the first team. And that just goes back to the stupid MLS rules about reserve team players and minutes and appearances and all that stuff. You don't want to keep them from being able to get game minutes because they're contributing, quote unquote, too much to the first team, which is not what a reserve team's for. But we'll see. It was fun. Felt like a drug addict afterwards. Was like, all right, when's the next game? Needed more. Needed another dose of it. But no, it was fun. It was good to sit down on a Saturday and watch them. Even though it was on TV, I stayed home and watched them on TV. It was really refreshing to watch them. And then, yeah, like David was saying, congratulations earlier. Congratulations to Thomas Williams on the new contract. Everybody knows my family's really big fans of him. My son's probably Thomas Williams' biggest fan. When Thomas came on, you would have thought, Orlando City scored the winning goal in the Champions League final the way my son acted when Thomas came on. So it was awesome, and can't even with all the negativity I was talking about, like I said, the three of us are like, and a lot of supporters are like drug addicts. We complain and complain and complain, but then can't wait for the next match. So it's can't wait for February 22nd. Can't get here soon enough, and just can't wait for it.
Which reminds me, February 8th at 6 p.m. we're gonna have a season ticket holder only friendly, and so I intend to be at that one. So be on the lookout for that. The boys are in Cancun for preseason camp. I just want to mention that the game was very, very good. Luis Muriel, disappointing, to be honest with you, and I just don't know how else to get something out of this man that is our $4 million man, and last, Pedro Galese with that impressive PK. I did not know that he had it in him, but you know what? He does have that dog in him. So I was completely impressed by that. And anyways, it was what it was. Just a friendly, and hopefully we have some news coming up. And at that point, my expectations, guys, are very tame based on the information that we know. But you never know. We Orlando City may sign Ronaldo on the last day of the window. And
Somebody,
honestly,
who it was I was talking to made made the point that we it's almost like the league's taking a step back from where they were heading a couple of years ago, because a couple of years ago the league really made the step, trying to encourage teams to sign young players and young talent to highlight, and they've kind of gone away from that again. I feel like it's a lot of players, coming in that are older in age, closer to around 30 than in their mid 20s. It's just disheartening that the league's gone in this direction when it should be a league with our location on the map. It should be an easier step for for kids in South America to to come up here, like a Facundo Torres or play, young players like that are promising but aren't quite there to make the jump to Europe, to the top leagues in Europe. And the league's really gone away from that. And it's sad, but David, you bring up that we paid $4 million for Muriel. Austin this offseason paid $12.3 million for a striker, and then Cincinnati paid $14 million for a striker this offseason. So $4 million is and that's just a quick search. $14 million is pennies. It doesn't include what free
No, for
agent.
sure. I mean, I believe we paid 9 or 10 for Facundo, so I mean, we're capable of it. Um,
We
Real
paid
quick,
9 or 10, and then we sold him for 12 plus add-ons, which is
yeah, yeah,
nothing. And then we're going after Zendejas that they're going to be, it sounds like we're going to have to pay 16 or 17 for,
yeah.
which we have the money to do it. We've sold enough players the last several years to do it. But it begs the question: is Zendejas really, nearly a $20 million player?
We can't get it wrong. I mean, I think like Jim pointed out with the um, God, the designated players with the DPs, we have never been able to field three DPs that are good to start week in, week out, and get us wins. That's how it has been our Achilles heel. How we had a DP in form. We win against Red Bulls, and we throw ourselves at the mercy of the football gods, the LA, and who knows. Guys, the preseason schedule is as follows. We're gonna be playing against Forge FC of the Canadian Premiership, and this is going to be a closed door scrimmage on the 28th. Atlanta United on a closed door scrimmage on the 5th. On the 8th, there's gonna be a season. The game that I mentioned is gonna for the season ticket holders only. Is gonna be against CF Montreal. Then February 11th, Rhode Island FC on a closed door scrimmage, and closing the biggest money grab. This is just obscene. February 14th, Valentine's Day, down in Raymond James, the home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Inter Miami. If you look at the prices, this is just abusing people that think they're actually gonna see Messi. He's not gonna show up. He's not gonna be near. The closest is gonna be to Tampa is gonna be Miami. So don't spend your money on this money grab that is not gonna get anywhere. The schedule has come out for Orlando City, and if you allow me here, mind you, I'm an old man with bad eyes, so please bear with me as I try to read this small print. So our home opener is going to be February 22nd against the Philadelphia Union, uh, followed by I'm not gonna give you the dates. I'm just gonna tell you how the games are gonna progress. It's gonna be home against Philadelphia, home against Toronto. Then we're gonna go away to New York City, away at Red Bulls, home versus DC, LA Galaxy away, Philadelphia away, Red Bulls at home, Montreal away, Atlanta at home, Chicago away, and the New England Revolution at home. This is basically covering the first 4 months of the season. So that's what we have. OCB has also come out with their schedule. I want to tell you when it's gonna be their home opener, and that is going to be, my good friends, against the Columbus Crew 2, and that is going to be at home on March 9th at 7 p.m. Okay, and we have a grudge match immediately against Atlanta 2, March 16th at 7 p.m. And we're gonna go away to our in Inter Miami foes there in interstate foes April 15th at 7 p.m. So, guys, there's a lot of football coming up, and this is think positive as far as our show. Like I said, on our next episode, we definitely gonna have some surprises. I saw the preliminary intro, and it goes hard. It goes really hard, and that's the way I like it. And obviously, we're gonna have Misael with us again, And on our new platform, we're gonna give you guys a quality product. So thank you very much for the people that have been watching us live. Appreciate it. For the folks that are gonna be listening to us later, I appreciate that. And always remember that you guys can find us now as in 90 minutes in all platforms, in 90 minutes podcast. And whatever happens on the next game, we'll find out in 90 minutes. So, guys, if you have anything else to add, I think we can wrap it up.
Yeah, just a clown on our little brothers to the south. Tom Bogert wrote this about a little over 2 hours ago that Inter Miami president of football operations has been reassigned, and Guillermo Hoyos is now in charge of sporting decisions per sources. And then he quote tweeted his own tweet and said, sources say there was an exchange of words between the president of football operations and Messi on a player and coaches only bus in Las Vegas when the team was there for a preseason friendly. Inter Miami says the moves were pre-planned in a statement. It should, it's funny because it just proves what we've been saying, that that club, if you want to call it a club, massive quotation marks around that, has officially let a player be bigger than the badge.
The crazy people are running the asylum. It'll be interesting to see how he skips the Orlando City game at Orlando again.
Well, now he doesn't have his kryptonite. Well, he has half of his kryptonite is still going to be playing this year in Arujo, but his biggest kryptonite in Cartagena isn't going to be there because those two have had their battles down in South America for the World Cup qualifiers and the different competitions down there. But it's just funny, it's funny to look at them. You guys might have your support, or you didn't even qualify for the supporter shield because your supporter groups are a joke. But you still don't have a trophy that means anything. So just fun to watch them flounder in the cesspool that is Miami itself.
All I gotta say is they couldn't beat ninth seeded Atlanta United with an intern manager and basically a bare bones club without their DPs. They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it at home. They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. So say whatever you want about us. Making the playoffs and making a Eastern Conference Championship game. You'll never sing that. Guys, let's wish our friends farewell and get out of here.
All right, so we're gonna leave you the only way we know how. It's been a while. Reminding you that football is played on grass, not on paper. That football is cruel and unpredictable. That football is a pound of talent and an ounce of luck, of which we're gonna need both this season. And if you haven't cried for joy or anger over football, have you really footballed? For David, John, Misael, and myself, may God bless you. And as always, vamos.
Vamos, Orlando!
Orlando!